Right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sukh Chamdal. I'm the CEO of the CBOX. I founded the CBOX in 2008, and I co-founded the franchise model in 2009. I have 35 years experience of food manufacturing and retailing, and I learned all that on the shop floor and hands-on. Pardip?
Yeah, I'm Pardip Das, co-founder and chief finance officer of CBOX. Joined forces with Sukh in 2008 to set up the Egg-Free CBOX franchise. I've got 20 years experience within the food and beverage industry as an accountant, and I'm a qualified management accountant, qualified whilst I was working for Starbucks Coffee Company.
Our fresh cream personalized egg-free cakes are currently sold from 157 stores as of 31st of March 2021. We started from a single shop in East London, and we are now proud to be serving all our shops by our 3 warehouse/bakery locations, headquartered in Enfield in North London. We have an ever-growing presence online, allowing services, for example, like our 1-hour click and collect service, and we also offer a web delivery service as well. If you go to the next slide. This page shows a cross-section of our products, from our core product, the celebration cake, through to our grab-and-go selections of slices and cupcakes, to our tea time treats such as our loaf cake selection and indulgent choice of cheesecakes. Our business is not a seasonal business. With a population of approximately 63 million in the UK, which if we divide by 365 days equals 180,000 birthdays a day. This is just a baseline, in addition to all other celebrations such as anniversaries, religious celebrations, Valentine's Day, etc., etc. This map shows you our spread across the country, from Southampton in the south up to Glasgow in the north, with plenty of areas requiring our presence, such as the northeast, Wales, Scotland. The shops are complemented by kiosks in shopping centres, allowing exposure in areas not served by us at the moment. We also have an ongoing kiosk trial in a major supermarket, where we currently have 6 kiosks, and will report back in due course in the results and how much we're going to expand in that major supermarket. If we switch to page, the next slide, this page shows our franchise selection process. We get about 100 applications per month with a success rate of about 3%. That's because we are looking for quality, not quantity. The process is quite streamlined. We get an online application online. My senior team assesses that, and if they're deemed successful, we send them a more detailed form. Once that comes back, my team selects who's going to go forth for a presentation at the head office. This allows us to get to know the potential franchisee, and the potential franchisee gets to know us. If they're successful in that, we grant them a second interview, which is a 1-to-1 with our senior team. And if they pass that, they go onto our property team, who does the site selection for them. And once the site is selected, we go to the legals. And once the legals has finished and we've got the keys, we start the build. At the same time, we start our extensive training program. And once the training program has finished and the shop build has done, we do a pre-open marketing, and then the store is opened. On this page, you can see, despite the crisis, we have increased the amount of deposits we hold from potential franchisees looking to open their own store and become their own boss. It shows a diverse spread across the country that can all be served from our depots across the country: Enfield, Coventry, and Bradford. By opening the ones in the north, we have reduced our road miles by 90% from when all the shops were served by the Enfield depot. And I'll hand you over to Pardip for the financial highlights.
Thank you, Sukh. So on page 10, we've got a summary of the financials. We have a strong track record of sales and profitability since we launched in 2008. If you have a look at just the last 5 years, you'll see that our sales and profits have grown year on year, even with the events of COVID-19, which affected both financial year 20 and financial year 21. Our business was affected during the closure of our stores in the first lockdown, but thereafter sales bounced back very strongly, and we continue to stay open and serve our customers in a safe manner. The increase in sales each year have been met by an increase in earnings per share and dividends. And last year we paid a special dividend in September, and this was to compensate the cancelled dividend for the full year. Go to the next page, you can see our operational highlights. So our year end is 31st of March. And in the year, we opened 24 new stores in an unprecedented year where COVID affected most high street retailers. And it brings our total to 157 stores at year end. We had phenomenal like-for-like growth. We had 14.9% strong. This is because of strong sales immediately after the first lockdown. And that was driven by our strong online presence, both through the likes of Uber Eats and Just Eat, and also through our own delivery platform, which we only introduced last year. This improved online offering increased to an 84% increase in our online sales on a year-to-date basis and on a like-for-like basis. So overall, this leads to a strong cash position within the group, with net cash rising to £3.6 million at year end, which is some 70% higher than the previous year. So as you know, we're a franchise business. So what's in it for our franchisees? Well, all of our stores are franchise owned. We're 100% franchise. We don't own any of our stores ourselves. And part of the success of our growth and our strong pipeline of potential franchisees wanting to join us is because we offer a very attractive package to our franchisees. I'll run through those. We offer a turnkey package, which means that in their investment, we provide everything, a fully fitted shop, all their training, all their marketing, and so they can commence trading straight away. They have access to our brand and our website, allowing them to take online orders immediately upon opening their store. We don't charge a management service fee or a marketing levy, as these costs are built into the cost of the goods to them, which we supply at very competitive rates. And unlike other food franchises, we operate sociable hours, which means that our partners trade typically between 11 AM and 7 PM. And finally, our franchises have a potential to own multiple sites, and it means that they can expect to earn EBITDA of about £87,000 per annum per site. I'll hand over to Roland now for any questions.
Sales of services made up more than 10% of overall sales in the last full year. Given that the number of new franchises opening can't stay at 20 plus stores, is this revenue source likely to fade away? And then further, are there any plans on charging franchises a yearly fee after the initial fee to keep this revenue source going?
Well, yeah, as well as having an endless supply of franchisees, we haven't saturated the UK market just yet, so we will be on 20 plus franchisees per year. But there's always, room for new product development. We've got a very good new product department working with some of our suppliers. So it's not just a revenue stream of new franchisees. We're constantly bringing out new products, and that will overtake what we do in terms of setting up new franchisees.
Next question. I think at one point you were targeting around 400 shops. Has that target been updated?
It was 250 shops, but we haven't got there yet. And we're not saying shops now, we're saying more like locations, because we're increasing more diverse or locations like shopping centres. Like you said, we were doing a major trial with a supermarket, and then there's other opportunities like train stations or etc. So we've got a wide variety of locations that we can open. So let's see how it goes in the next 2 years.
And for me personally, I think it was that kind of the kiosks and the concessions that you talked through. It sounded really quite exciting. Is that something you think you could accelerate the growth?
Or they will either complement the growth because it's an existing franchisee who operates that kiosk, so it's an extension of their shop. And also, if it's the nearest shopping centre to them, they make everything at the shop and then they transport it to the kiosk and sell it there as a grab and go. And it also enhances the brand and brand awareness because some people who haven't got a shop near them, they do go to shopping centres and we get more exposure as well.
Had a question about the kind of demographics of your customers, or I guess could you paint a picture of your typical customer? The comment is, are they tend to be in Asian populations, or do you find it's a broad range of customers who are buying product?
That little snippet I had earlier, 63 million in this country, divide that by 365 days, we've got 180,000 birthdays. Everybody needs a cake. So it doesn't matter what their ethnicity is or color or creed or everything. Everybody needs a cake, and we're there to fulfill that demand. And what it was, incidentally, I started off in an Asian area. I started off in my father's shop, so no rent. And I happened to live in an Asian area. And the franchisees who first came up, they all lived in Asian areas. So that's where we started off. But now we're in diverse locations in Southampton, Rochester, Glasgow, Aldershot, Basingstoke. So we've got a very, very diverse shops in areas where everybody can enjoy our cakes. And when we joined the delivery platforms, we consider them marketing platforms. So people who've had their main meal, fancy a dessert, they've gone on to Just Eat or Deliveroo, ordered a slice of cake, and they've been converted into a birthday cake customer. And it's exposed our brand to a lot bigger market. And our market is everybody.
Lovely, thank you. What percentage of the firm is owned by the management team?
Myself and Pardip own about 40%.
Next up, what is the minimum and maximum investment per store? I think that might mean as a franchisee.
The franchisees pays around £150,000 plus VAT, and store to store that varies between £10,000. So we're not looking at a massive difference in the blueprint. Most of the stores are 800 to 1,000 square feet, so we're able to accommodate those in the budget figure that we've quoted the potential franchisee.
Next up, would you require a new warehouse in the next few years?
We're always looking, or it depends on demand, and we never say no, because it's a nice position to be in, that you've got so much demand that you need more warehousing space. And so there's always room for expansion as our base grows, as our operations grow and our sales grows. We will be future-proofing our growth patterns, and if required, we will expand into further warehouses. Yes.
I mean, you touched on some of this one already, but just to answer the questioner's question, how many stores do you believe the country would take before they start to cannibalize each other?
What it is that we are very ethical in how we allocate areas. We don't give territories, we don't give areas, they're not defined, right? Or if we see the potential of more than one shop in an area, we always give the existing franchisee the first option. So in a place like Southall, we have 2 shops within a quarter of a mile. In Ilford, we've got shops within a third of a mile. And in Ealing, we've got shops on either side of the high street, right? And so it all depends on the area. But a place like Leamington Spa will always have just one shop. And as you can see from the map, we are nowhere saturated in the country yet. We've only got one shop in Scotland. We've only got 1 shop or 2 shops in Wales now. and we've still got the northeast, the southwest, the southeast to conquer.
And the same questioner also asked, are there any plans to launch the franchise overseas?
Again, we are really focusing on getting the full potential in the UK, but that would never say no, and we would look at that question as and when the time arises.
Next up, who's your biggest competitor?
We are so fortunate that we don't have a national like-for-like competition. We have small pockets of local owner-occupiers where they have, in East London, I believe we have one who has 5 or 6 or sites. In the Midlands, I believe we have one who's got about 12 sites. Otherwise, it's single operators or operating a single shop. And they're not direct competition because we, with our economics of scale and our buying power, can get the best prices. And fresh cream is a very fickle product, very short life. And unless you've got the sales, you don't really want to waste that kind of resource. So you find our competition don't use real cream, they use the artificial stuff. And second thing is that they cannot offer the range that we offer at the prices that we offer. When we were in the Midlands, we brought the prices of the general cakes down because how good value that we are. And so we are very fortunate that we don't have a like-for-like competitor.
Next up, what is the reason for, let's move that, all the cakes being egg-free? And then further, are you affected at all by the sugar tax?
Or I started off in a very high Asian area. My family is lacto-vegetarian, no egg, no meat, no fish. So when my young child said, I don't want a cake with eggs, I had to go out and get a recipe. And with the help of the South Bank University and £20,000 government grant, I got that recipe. By taking out that one product, it's enabled us to capture the Asian market, or it's allowed us to capture the halal market because we are halal by default, because we don't have no alcohol or meat products in there. And we capture the rest of the market because you don't miss the eggs. The cakes are absolutely delicious. And someone who does eat eggs, anything that will go for the taste, and they're not bothered about having eggs in there.
Next up, the sugar tax.
Yes, no, we're not affected by sugar tax because we are a treat. We are a luxury. They will buy it for their birthday or their anniversary, which is once a year. And so when you have a treat, right, you don't worry about or fat or calories or sugar. So, like Mars bars and or chocolate bars, people buy them for a treat every now and then, and they don't buy them every single day. So we're not affected by the sugar tax.
Do you provide any vegan cakes?
I'm glad you asked that because we're at a very exciting stage at the moment. We haven't introduced a vegan product because we will not eat it. So unless I'm happy to eat it myself, I'm not going to sell it. And we've just perfected our Genoese or Victoria sponge vegan cake. We're in the last trials. We perfected the vegan cream. So you're going to have a fresh cream cake in inverted commas, but vegan, very, very soon from us. And I perfected a vegan cupcake. In fact, I've got them sitting right here. I've just tasted them. And that's right. I'm glad you brought that question up. So please watch this space, and you will have the best vegan tasting cake that a vegan has ever tasted.
I had a question. You mentioned that franchisees can have multiple outlets. How many have multiple outlets, and what's the largest number that a franchisee has?
We've got one franchisee that has 8 shops. But we've got a consortium of 3 other franchisees that have got 7 shops between them each as well. So more than half of our franchisees are multi-site franchise owners, and even the ones that got their first shop because they're new or for whatever reason, they are looking for their second shop as well because it's fantastic business. The earning potential is there, and we have got a lot of franchisees that are multi-site owners, more than half.
Now, the question, I think you covered this in the presentation, but just to reiterate, the question is what kind of average profitability does a franchisee get per annum? And I'll just further to that, do those multiple site franchisees achieve a higher profitability? Are they, if you like, more efficient owners?
Well, some of them do. It depends on what sites that they've got. We are finding that the multi-site owners are more professional, and therefore, you know, they're running their businesses much better than the single operators. But £87,000 is the average EBITDA figure that we are attaining at the franchise level.
Next up is about rollouts. You had 24 new stores open last year in difficult times, 52 deposits on the book. How many could you get out in the next 12 months?
Well, we aim for about 18 to 24 stores a year, and that's really, you know, a commitment to try and do as many as that. But look, at the end of the day, we are trying to open as many shops as we can. We still need to look at our operation as well, and make sure that everything runs smoothly. But certainly 18 to 24 is very doable each year, and where we can, we will help accelerate that.
And the kind of final question, I think, for the time is one from me, and it's about landlords. Do you deal with landlords at a PLC level, or do the individual franchisees deal with their landlords? And then during the pandemic or following the pandemic, do you think there might be opportunities for rent reductions or any renegotiations with those landlords?
We negotiate on the franchisee's behalf to get them the best deal from the landlord. The lease is in the name of the franchisee, but with the recognized name now, landlords themselves are chasing us to get a tenant into their shops. We negotiate the very best deal. For example, the lease has to be in the limited company, no personal guarantees, and minimum amount of rent deposit. And because we are not in the middle of the high street, we don't pay big rents in the first place. And so we haven't needed to ask landlords for reductions. Some landlords have voluntarily given reductions, but overall our landlords have been really, really good. And because we are a very good reputation within the rental community, that we've never had a default of rent. So landlords are much more favourable in taking us on. And we've seen that we're getting much better deals for our franchisees. The rents are a lot more competitive, and the rent-free periods are much better as well.
Lovely. Sukh, Pardip, that's been terrific. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Great. Thank you very much for your time, everybody.